Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today we're back in the Stephen King corner and we're here to review his newest novel, Fairy Tale. This novel was released about a month ago now and I completed it a couple weeks ago. And there's a bit to go over in this one. It's a rather large novel, as you can see, over 600 pages, or right around 600 pages. And this novel, for the first time in a long time, King took us back into the fairy tale or fantasy genre. More like he did with The Talisman and probably Eyes of the Dragon. Those are the two that come to mind that are really in the fantasy genre. And this one, it had a feel to it. Let's just put it that way. So like my previous reviews of Stephen King books, I'll talk about the plot and everything like that. We'll go over everything in that regard, a little spoiler-free review, and then let's get into more of the details, and I'll give you a heads up, so if you don't want to spoil it for yourself, you can always shut the video off at that point. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it a little further. Okay, so plot-wise, this book follows our main character, Charlie, who is a teenager in high school, and he befriends this older gentleman who lives in a creepy old house down the street from him. And through circumstances, the gentleman slipped, he heard his dog barking, he went to go help him. He ends up becoming really good friends with the older gentleman whose name is Mr. Bowditch, by the way, during his recovery and all that, and just falls in love with his German Shepherd dog, Radar. And one thing leads to another, and Charlie ends up discovering this mysterious shed in Mr. Bowditch's backyard. And after Mr. Bowditch ends up passing away, he leaves Charlie with a recording giving him instructions to what exactly this shed is all about. And it turns out it's basically a tunnel to another world. Another world is the best way to put it. So he ends up venturing down there with Radar in order to find this magical sundial and go backwards, put Radar on it and go backwards so she can become younger and she can live longer, basically. And while he's in this fantasy land of sorts, he ends up embarking on a journey of his own to end up saving their world as they know it. So in a nutshell, that is what it is about, without giving too much away there. Let's talk a little bit about how this relates to the King universe. I went into this novel with big time expectations, as you could imagine. With a plot like that, I was thinking we could be getting big time connections here to not only the Stephen King universe, but specifically the Dark Tower series. Now, although there were subtle nods in terms of dialogue and things like that, there wasn't anything too major connecting it to the Tower and the King multiverse. At least I thought that way. If you guys found anything on your own, please put a comment down below, let me know. But I just thought on first read, there just wasn't, I was kind of waiting for it the whole time, and there just wasn't exactly anything too direct. In terms of the writing style, for those of you who complain about Stephen King being a little long-winded and slow, this may not be the novel for you. This one really it was a slow burn. It really did take a while to get going. And just felt like everything was progressing along very slowly. It was a 600-page novel that I thought maybe could have been a little shorter, but don't get me wrong, I did enjoy the pace of the novel, and the world building that he created with this was really well done, and I didn't really find myself bored at all throughout the read. So even though it was a slow burn, I thought it was still very well done and well written. And I like don't get me wrong, don't deter yourself from reading it in that sense. I'm just saying, if you're one of those who complains about Stephen King doing that in the past, then maybe this isn't the novel for you, because for me, I do always like Stephen King's slow burns and just the way he writes them. So other than that, I mean, it was a really good read. Just like a lot of his newer stuff that's come out in the past 2 or 3 years, I thought, they're all pretty good. Like just hasn't really been too many duds lately with him. And I just really hope he does keep going at this clip. I don't think there's anything new announced from King in terms of coming out in 2023. He'll probably have a couple. He usually does. Seems to be he's churning out 2 a year. So can't wait for the next one. And like I said, I'm hoping that we get a little more connections to the Dark Tower universe. And also, let me know what you thought about the ending of this novel. I thought it was a little bit, I don't want to be cliche and say Stephen King's endings are bad, because that's like the cool thing to do, it seems like. But I just thought this one could have, was set up to be a little bit different. And I thought it wrapped up in a bit of a quick way. And yeah, again, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Just overall, what you thought of the novel. Thumbs up, thumbs down. For me, it's always a thumbs up with King. It's hard for me to dislike anything of his. So once again, great chatting books with you guys. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you soon. Happy reading.